Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we are going to present our assignment 2 for the subject employment law and employee relations. So this assignment prepared by Fanny Lau Chinghua, Haris Hazwan, Santana Lechmi, Mathial Kazan, Krishna Vani and Mugilan Sivakumar. So the introduction is the Employment Act stands as the foundation of labor relation and employment law in Malaysia. For example, in Malaysia it is known as the Employment Act 1955 Amendment 2022. The Act is enacted to protect the rights and interests of both employers and employees. It creates a framework that regulates various aspects of the employment relationship. In Malaysia, employees can make any claim, defense and compensation from their employer, and it can be done through the right channels such as Department of Labour, Ministry of Human Resources. They will offer free help and advice to the workers. As its core, the Employment Act defines the right and responsibility of individuals involved in the workforce, regardless of their types of occupation or industry. From minimum wage requirements to leave entitlements, it sets our provision aimed at promoting fair and equitable treatment in the workplace. In this assignment, we will delve into various aspects of Employment Act, exploring key provision, their implication and relevance into the workforce landscape. It includes a comparison of the Employment Act in Malaysia and some other countries.
Good morning, sir. My name is Krishna Vani. I'm from MSc Raman. So today I am going to present about the similarities of Malaysia and Singapore. So the topic we chose is first question, Employee Act 1955 provide the basic rights for employees in the private sector. Identify the similarities and differences between the provisions in the Act, Employment Act 1955 in Malaysia with other country. So the similarities of Malaysia and Singapore. The Employment Act 1955 and the Singapore Employment Act 1968 have some similarities. For example, both acts state the employees should be paid within 7 days after the last day of the wage period. The Employment Act 1955 covers minimum terms and conditions of the employment for certain workers. This includes provisions for working hours, overtime, leave entitlement, public holidays, termination, and maternity benefits. The Act also provides a framework for handling issues like termination, maternity leave, and overtime. This can help avoid misunderstanding and maintain workplace harmony. As of January 1st, 2023, the Employment Act 1955 covers all employees regardless of their wages. However, some benefits such as the overtime payment, termination, and layoff benefits are only available to employees earning a monthly salary of 4,000 or below. The Employment Act of 1955 in Malaysia and the Employment Act of 1968 in Singapore share several similarities despite being separate pieces of regulations. Here are some commonalities. First one, scope. Both acts apply to most employees, including manual laborers, clerk workers, and professionals with some expectations for managerial or executive positions. Next one, coverage. Both acts apply to a wide range of employees, including manual workers, clerical staff, and non-managerial employees, while excluding certain groups such as domestic workers, seafarers, and public servants. Next, working hours. Both acts regulate working hours for employees, typically setting limits on the maximum number of hours an employee can work per day and per week. They also establish provisions for rest periods and breaks during work hours. Next, overtime. Both acts address the payment of overtime wages for work performed beyond normal working hours. They specify the rate at which overtime should be compensated, often at a premium rate compared to regular wages. Next, leave entitlements. Both acts provide provisions for annual leave, sick leave, and public holiday entitlement for employees. These provisions aim to ensure that employees receive adequate time of work for rest, relaxations, and personal reasons. Next, termination and severance. Both acts outline procedure and regulations related to termination of employment, including notice periods, termination benefits, and protections against unfair dismissal. They aim to safeguard the rights of employees to ensure fair treatment by employers. Next, maternity protections. Both acts include provision for maternity protection, such as the maternity leave entitlements and protection against dismissal and discrimination due to pregnancy or childbirth. These provisions aim to support female employees during pregnancy and facilitate their return to work after childbirth. Child labor. Both acts contain provisions prohibiting the employment of children below a certain age or restricting their working hours to protect their well-being and ensure access to education. Next, enforcement and dispute resolution. Both acts establish mechanism for enforcement and dispute resolutions, including avenues for lodging complaints, conducting inspections, and seeking redress through labor tribunals or courts. Next, maternity and paternity leave. Both acts include provisions for maternity leave for female employees and in recent years have expanded to include paternity leave for male employees. And also weekly work hours. Both acts require that employees be paid within 7 days of the end of the pay period. And next, basic employment terms. The both acts fundamental terms such as work hours, rest days, public holiday, annual leave, and sick leave entitlement. So while there are similarities between the Employment Act of Malaysia and Singapore, there may also be differences in specific provisions, coverages, and enforcement mechanisms due to variations in legal frameworks, economic priorities, and social context between the two countries. So that's all from my part. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir, and all my friends. I am Fanny Laos. Today I'm gonna present about the difference of the Malaysia and the Singapore. So I will explain about the 1955 Employee Act. I will call it EA lah. So the EA is a Malaysia primarily the employee related the legislations, famous works, along with the others. Is lay out the minimum requirement for the teams of the service and the working conditions. That includes the regular working hours, employee contracts, rest payments, rest break, and the termination notice. So remarkably, the EA mainly the cover employee process regulates defines as any individuals was military areas that do not support specifically to search or who perform manual labors. So I will explain a little about the different Malaysia and Singapore in the below. For the Malaysia, the minimum notice period is as per below. 4 weeks notice for the employee who working for less than 2 years. And the second one is the 6 weeks notice for the employee who working for the 2 years and more about less than 5 years. But the Singapore employee is the minimum notice periods for the employee should be in the 1 day notice from employee who working for less than the 26 weeks. So the other one is 1 week's notice for the employee who working from 26 weeks or more than 2 weeks. Furthermore, the 2 weeks notice from the employee who working for the 2 years or more but less than 5 years. And the last is 4 weeks notice for the employee who working for the 5 years more or more. So second is about the salary reductions. The employee makes take vary. So salary deductions from the CPF contributions and the employee as assessors for the works are permitted the employee in Singapore. Nevertheless, the amounts deducted from Mrs. working days cannot extra the employees gross pay. So within the Malaysia Employee Act does not list contributions to the employee providers fund. So we call that is a EPF. So as a allowable deductions, employees are required to make the monthly salaries distributions towards the recruitment funds. When it comes to pay the direct to the acquisitions of the share, a Malaysian employee needs employee writer consults. The other one is Singapore has required the weekend work hours. Workers in Malaysia are requirements to put in 48 hours a week, 4 hours more than the Singapore. So where the maximum Singapore work week is 44 hours. However, the workers can take a break after 6 hours of the labors or 1 hour longer than in Malaysia. Where the workers are entitled to leisure periods of the at least 30 minutes following the 5 hours of non-stop the work. So for the sake of their own healthy, an employee is not permitted to work beyond the countless amounts of the time. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. Today, me, Santana, and Mugilan going to present the new provision for incorporation in the Malaysian and China Employment Act. So, first, employment acts vary significantly across countries, reflecting diverse labor market dynamics, legal frameworks, and social norms. However, they generally encompass provision related to basic employment rights such as minimum wage regulation, working hours, leave entitlements, and work safety standards. Overall, employment acts establish a framework for fair and equitable employment practices, ensuring the protection and welfare of workers while promoting economic stability and social justice within each respective country. So the first provision working employment act in Malaysia and China is flexible working arrangement. The Malaysian Employment Act now maintains provision for flexible working arrangements, allowing employee to negotiate the terms such as remote work or adjust hours with their employers, fostering a better work-life balance. That's the Act allows for implementation of flexible work arrangement such as telecommuting and flexible hours to accommodate the diverse needs of employees and promote productivity in Malaysia. From China, we can see the flexible working hour system refer to arrangement under which an employee works with fixed number of hours per day and per week, but these hours can be complete at irregular times rather than during a fixed working window.
Hi, sir. My name is Mugilan. So I'd like to answer my questions for new provision in cooperation, Malaysia and China Employment Act. So the second is discrimination and harassment. In Malaysian labor law, discrimination and harassment are addressed under various statutes and regulations, including Employment Act 1955 and Industrial Relations Act 1967. This law prohibit discrimination based on race, religion, gender, and other protected characteristic in requirement, promotion, and other employment practice. In China labor laws, they are address discrimination and harassment in workplace by prohibiting discrimination based on factors such as gender, ethnicity, religion, and disability. Employees are required to provide equal employment opportunities and create a work environment free from discrimination and harassment.
So the third new provision from Malaysian and China Employment Act is strengthened protection from whistleblowers. Malaysia does not have a specific legislation solely dedicated to whistleblower protection. Various law and regulation in Malaysia indirectly provide some level of protection for whistleblowers in certain contexts, which is the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act 2009 offer protection to individuals who report corruption-related offense. Additionally, the Protected Disclosures Act 2010 protects employees who report misconduct or criminal activities within their organization, although this law primarily applies to the private sector and not to all industry or sectors. When we looking into the China's employment law do not explicitly include provisions specifically labeled as strength protection for whistleblowers. Whistleblowers protection in China may also be covered under broader legal frameworks related to transparency, anti-corruption, or administrative regulation aimed to promoting accountability and integrity in workplace.
So the fourth question is employment contracts. So the answer is in Malaysia, employment contracts are governed primarily by the Employment Act 1955 and the common law. Employment contracts must be included essential terms such as job scope, remuneration, working hours, and duration of employment. Failure to adhere to these contractual obligations may lead to legal disputes and potential liabilities for both employees and employers. In China, employment contracts are required for all employees, outlining terms such as job responsibility, working hours, wages, and benefits. Contract must adhere to Chinese labor law, which govern matters such as probation periods, termination procedures, and severance pay. Failure to provide a written employment contract or violating contract terms can legal consequences for employers.
So the final provision for incorporation in the Malaysian and China Employment Act is training and skills development. In Malaysian labor law, training and skills development are emphasized as an integral components of employment practices. Employees are encouraged to provide training and opportunities to enhance the skills and knowledge of their workforce. While specific provision may vary, promoting training and skills development is seen as a critical for fostering productivity, competitiveness, and career advancement with the Malaysian workforce. So employees may receive incentive or support from government incentives aim to promoting lifelong learning and skill upgrading among employees. We can see the labor law from China encourage training and skills development by requiring employees to provide necessary training to employees to enhance their professional skills and adapt to changes in job requirements. So some industry may have a specific regulation or incentive for promoting and training and skills enhancement among workers to support national economic development goals. In conclusion, both Malaysia and China recognize the importance of training and skills development in empowering group and enhancing their participation in the workforce. So that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
In conclusion, the Employment Act stands as the foundation of labor law, providing a comprehensive framework to regulate the rights and obligations of both employers and employees in the workplace. Throughout the assignment, we have explored the main provision, the implication, and pointers in contemporary society, from setting minimum wage standards to ensuring fair working conditions and dispute resolution mechanism. The Employment Act plays an important role in fostering harmonious and productive work environment. By encouraging compliance with its provision, employees can foster a culture of respect, trust, and fairness, ultimately improving employee morale and organizational performance. However, it is important to recognize that challenges persist in the effective implementation and enforcement of the Employment Act. Addressing issues such as wage inequality, workplace discrimination, and precarious employment arrangement require concerted effort from policymakers, employees, and civil stakeholders. Looking ahead, the future of the Employment Act depends on its ability to adapt to the dynamics of the evolving labour market and the growing needs of society. By embracing innovation and reform, we can ensure it continues to serve as a bulwark against exploitation and injustice, while fostering inclusive, sustainability, economic growth. In the task carried out this time, we can know that the Employment Act in Malaysia also prove that welfare and proper defence are also implemented so that every employee can carry out their duties and responsibilities as best as possible. In conclusion, the Employment Act remains the foundation of labour relations, shaping efficient workplace governance and social justice in our society. So that's all from us. Thank you.